Hey, good afternoon, Greensburg, Chautauqua folks. Mickey, we have you are about my seventh guest, um, and I call this my Chautauqua virtual concert series. And so we have reached out all around the globe in finding the world's greatest musical talent. And I must admit, um, as someone who saw you probably for the first time back in 1977, and I've seen Willie and family 6 times. Of course, I'm a big fan. Um, and of course, it was wonderful when you agreed to do it, but part of the joy is getting to know people who are genuine, and that has been my impression in working with you. It means a lot when people care enough about little Greensburg, Indiana, population 10,296. Um, and here is Mickey Raphael. And by the way, folks, you all know him, you all love him, and correct me if I'm wrong, for 48 years now.
Yeah, since 73.
Mickey has been playing with Willie Nelson, and when he agreed to do this, I was ecstatic. And so I want to hear kind of your story. I know you've got a couple of songs. I've got students with questions. Anyone out there in the general audience, we have people in the community as well, that you can post a question for Mickey in the Q&A. And who knows, we may even have a bit of a surprise later. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me give you the great Mickey Raphael.
Thank you for having me, John.
So, Mickey, let's get started. Tell us about you and where you come from in the days before Willie Nelson.
Well, I grew up in Dallas, Texas, and I was, there was very, well, I'd say there was, I was trying to think if there was music in my house when I was growing up. My mom played piano, and she would play Rhapsody in Blue, which, George Gershwin's great masterpiece. And I knew growing up that I wanted to be a musician, but I was I picked up a guitar, but I was a terrible guitar player. And a friend of my dad's played the harmonica, and he said, if you learn to play a song on the harmonica, Oh Susanna or something, and this guy, he was a Navy man, so he might have had me play the Marines hymn or Anchors Away or something like that. He'd give me a harmonica. So my dad's friend gave me my first harmonica, and I just carried it around with me everywhere I went till, and just tried to learn how to play it. I'm still learning how to play it. So
one of the things that I think was the first time we chatted on the phone, you gave a great story about joining your high school band.
Oh yeah.
Could you tell that story?
Yeah, well, I was not very coordinated as an athlete. And when I was going to school, if you were an athlete, I mean, that's really all that mattered. And I was one of those kids that was not very popular, that was chosen last when they chose up teams. I was the last one to be chosen, if I even got chosen to be on a team. So my PE class was not my favorite subject because I was just uncoordinated. My dad was a German refugee, and he grew up, riding horses and skiing and soccer, and not the typical American sports, being basketball and baseball and football. So I didn't know really how to play these sports, and I wasn't very good. So, it was a nightmare going into class and having to, do these sports that I really wasn't good at. And the band leader came to PE class one day and said, we need a volunteer. We'll let you out of PE. And of course, my hand went right up. I had no idea what he was offering. So make a long story short, he said, we need a tuba player in the marching band. And I didn't know anything about playing tuba, but it got me out of PE. I would have done anything. So he sat me down with the tuba and would write out over the marches, over the music, numbers 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 3, which were the fingerings. There were 3 valves on the tuba, and it was the basically play oompa oompa, and you would just read the number charts. I really wasn't reading the music, but and I thought, well, this is great. I can sit here and just play this tuba. No, we had to dress up in these wool uniforms and get out and march in formation. So I was getting a great workout. And I learned to march in these formations, but I had to go to the ball game. I went to the football games every weekend and carried this tuba. And I don't even know if they really needed to hear the tuba. They just wanted to see the big sousaphone that wraps around you. They wanted to see that on the field. And so I was out there carrying it out every Friday night.
And my guess is that has left you with a soft spot for high school bands to this day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When was the last time you played the tuba, Mickey?
Well, I bought a mouthpiece not long ago just to try to, I love this band, Preservation Hall, jazz band from New Orleans. And they've got a fabulous tuba player. And I was visiting with him and I said, I need to revisit this. So I bought a mouthpiece, and the armature is so much different than a harmonica. A harmonica, it's almost like whistling because you're playing in a really small hole where the tuba mouthpiece is huge, and I really couldn't get much out of it. But because I remember it started practice when I was playing tuba, I would practice on just the mouthpiece. But I love it. I wish I had stuck with it. I wish and maybe one day I'll buy a tuba just to have around the house.
That would be awesome. Before we get going in the program, I'd love to ask you just a couple other questions, and I hope I'm not stealing the thunder of folks, but the question number one, and I know it's there in black and white, but tell us what it was like when you had that first meeting with Willie, and when did things connect between you?
Well, I was playing in Texas, playing the harmonica with different folk singers, with different singer-songwriters like B.W. Stevenson or Michael Murphy, Jerry Jeff Walker, and they were all involved in the Austin music scene. Willie had just moved to Austin, and I get a call from Darrell Royal, who was the coach of the University of Texas football team, the Longhorns. And the stadium is named after him now in Austin. And he's a real patron of the arts and just loved music and was a close friend of Willie's. And he said, hey, I'm having a little pick-in party after the ball game tonight. I think the Longhorns are playing Arkansas. And why don't you get your harmonicas? I'd like to meet you. Come over and meet some of my friends. And I went over there, and there were, there's about 30 people in this hotel suite. And they had a guitar, and they would just sing a song and pass the guitar around. Willie was there, Charlie Pride was there, and several other people that I didn't know. And I didn't know Willie. I think I'd had one Willie record because when I was with B.W. Stevenson, we were on RCA, and I was able to go into the vault and just pick records, and to take with me. And I had no country background at all. So I was more into rock and roll, but this one Willie record really caught my eye, and I took it home and listened to it. And, I never forgot that record. And then I meet Willie for the first time, and he's playing these classic songs like Funny How Time Slips Away and Nightlife, which I had probably heard Ray Charles or Aretha Franklin do. That was my introduction to his music. But when I heard him sing him, I thought, oh, so this is the guy, that wrote these songs. And I'd play along with him. And he said, if you ever hear we're playing somewhere, we play around Texas a lot. If you ever hear we're playing, come sit in. So they were playing at a a benefit for a volunteer fire department in Lancaster, Texas, which was about 30 miles south of Dallas, where I was living. And I drove down there to play with him and sat in with the band. And the band was set up on the basketball court. I mean, just on the floor, no stage, just on the wood. I can't remember if I had to take my shoes off. I think back then, everybody had to take their shoes off to get on the court floor. But we played, and then after the show, we went to a truck stop at 1 a.m, which is what you do. You have breakfast at a truck stop, and we're sitting there eating and talking, and I was drinking coffee, and I thought, well, it's about time to go because it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I got to drive back to Dallas, and I thought I'll have one more cup of coffee. And in that last cup of coffee, Willie says, "Hey, we're going to New York in a couple of weeks. Why don't you go with us?" So I credit that one cup of coffee to kind of changing my life.
And 48 years later, huh?
Yeah, I'm still drinking coffee.
That is just
decaf. So
yeah, you and me both. That is just a fantastic story. I know you got a couple numbers prepared for us. By the way, when I see Willie, excuse me, I don't know if it's his original guitar, but he goes through a guitar about once every 30 or 40 years. I mean, it gets the big hole. Do you have your original 1973 harmonica?
No, because they wear out. They're totally disposable. They wear out. They go out of tune, and I don't save them.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than I saw on Instagram, there's a guy in Germany, in Berlin, that is doing an art installation where he's taking the reed plates, inside the harmonica.
Uh-huh.
These are the cover plates. You take this off, and it's a brass plate with 10 reeds. So he's taking these reeds of hundreds of harmonicas and putting them on a wall, basically. And as the wind blows through this wall, it makes the reed vibrate just like you'd be blowing on a harmonica.
Wow.
And it's called the wind wall. And he's asking for for people, harmonica players, to donate their used harmonicas. So I thought that's a great idea to have this stuff. But no, I don't save them. They go out of tune, and they just wear out. They're totally disposable, which is kind of sad because you can't get really attached to it like you could a guitar. What I do have, though, this part here is called the comb, the wooden part, and I have them made, custom made, either out of titanium or brass or sometimes stainless steel. So you have something, that you can get attached to, and then you just change the reed plates out because it's just 4 screws that hold the reeds on. So when something goes out of tune, you can just change the reeds. But you've got a really nice engraved. In fact, I have one. I had one custom made that was engraved across here, and Woody Guthrie's guitar said, "This machine kills fascists." So I because he was playing these protest songs, and I said, I'm going to have one made like that. So I had this guy that customizes harmonicas. I said, could you, engrave in there, "This machine kills fascists." And I got it, and I looked at it, and I thought something was off. I wasn't sure. He misspelled it. He said, "This machine kills fascists." So I think it's spelled Facists and forgot the S on it. So
that's a great story. Well, Mickey, how about playing us one?
Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll play On the Road Again, which we play every night with Willie, and I'll play the melody. I won't keep playing all the verses and everything because it's very repetitive. But if I was going to take a solo with Willie, or with him, actually, he'll play the solo on the guitar and I'll play along with him. It'll go something like this.
Oh, that was
So there's a setting on here where it would cancel out the harmonica. Are you getting the
oh, it
harp?
sounded great.
Okay. Yeah, there's a setting on Zoom that will accept the original sound. I can't remember if I said it that way.
No, absolutely loved it. Hey, at this point in time, how do you feel like answering some questions?
Oh yeah, I'm up for that.
I have got some students, and I also have someone out in our local community. Anita, are you there? Anita, are you there? She might not be in yet. Okay, I got my students on the way, Mickey.
Okay. Now you're outside of Indianapolis, right?
Yeah, we are 42 miles east of Indianapolis. We are basically your midpoint between Indianapolis and Cincinnati.
Ah, okay. So
My
the west side, what is Lake Monroe? Is that on the west side?
Lake Monroe in Bloomington.
Yeah.
You are 90 miles to our slight southeast.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And as a matter of fact, I believe next time you're in Indy, you'll be in Brown County, which is between Lake Monroe and Greensburg, about 45, 50 minutes from here.
When is that? Do you know?
It has not officially been rescheduled.
Because it'll be, I think we go back in August. I think that's when he starts up again.
Oh, and I can't wait. Okay, here's some questions for you.
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Elena. My question for you is, what was one of the best memories you have while working with Willie Nelson?
The best, one of the best memories. Well, just working with him is a great memory. But I've been able to travel all over the world. I've played in, all over Europe, the Far East, Bangkok, Tokyo. We did a tour in Japan. So I think, being able to travel on somebody else's dime has been a great, a great experience, and just to see the world and see other cultures, and see that it's not just about my hometown.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's give Anita, I think Anita's there now. Anita, are you there? Don't worry, we'll keep trying, Mickey.
Okay.
Here's another one.
Hi.
Hi.
My question for you today is, what is your favorite song to play on the harmonica and why?
My favorite song on the harmonica with Willie might be Georgia, because I get to take the solo on it. And anytime we play Georgia in Georgia, it's kind of like a built-in applause, but that, and I'm a big Ray Charles fan, and I just, that's a fun song for me to play. And it's one that I always get the solo on, that Willie always lets me, stand out, because usually he takes all the solos. I mean, we kind of split it up, but that's one that's definitely, I can kind of make my own.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Zara.
Hi.
I was going to ask you, who taught you how to play the harmonica, or are you self-taught?
Well, I'm self-taught, but I've stolen from a lot of people. Charlie McCoy, who played on a lot of the records coming out of Nashville in the 60s and 70s. I would listen to him and listen to the records he played on. A guy named Donnie Brooks, who was from Dallas, where I grew up, was the first guy to actually sit down with me and show me a little bit about the harmonica. But there's, I just try to listen to everybody, records that have harmonica, and just try to learn from listening to them. but you really have to be self-taught. I mean, it's one of those things that you have to just, woodshed on your own and just play all the time.
Okay, thank you.
Right, people are crazy.
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Josie, and my question for you is, what is your dream event or place that you would like to perform?
Oh, my dream that I haven't been to yet.
Yes.
I love playing. I love playing outdoors. So any of the big outdoor venues are always fun. Oh no, I know where it is. There's a tiny, tiny little club in New Orleans called Preservation Hall. And I'd mentioned earlier about the jazz band that comes there, but it seats about 100 people. There's no sound system in there, and you just set up on the floor, and people, the people are quiet, and you play. And I mean, this place hasn't changed in 100 years. So I think that would be my favorite. And when I go to New Orleans, I go and sit in with the band that plays, Preservation Hall Jazz Band. But it'd be fun for Willie to go there, which he hasn't. But just sit in a little room with 80, 90 people, I think would be fun.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
When looking at your biography, it mentioned that you were a music producer, harmonica player, and an actor. Which profession did you begin to work in first?
First was harmonica. Then that kind of opened up doors for being able to produce and my illustrious acting career. I mean, luckily Willie was in these two movies, and I was grandfathered into these parts, because they needed, we played ourselves basically in the movies. But first and foremost, it was being a musician, was being a harmonica player. And the other things just came later, luckily. Being at the right place at the right time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hey.
My name is Drew Messer. My question is, if you could change one thing in your life, what would it be?
If I could change one thing in life, about myself, you mean, or just in maybe, if I could change one thing in life, in the big picture, it would just be tolerance, getting people just to be more tolerant of people and things that are different from themselves, being able to open their eyes and be more accepting to, different points of view, different cultures. I think that would make life a lot easier.
Awesome. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hello, my name is Oakley. My question is, did anyone influence you to play the harmonica?
Yes. I wanted to be a musician because my mom played piano, and I was a terrible guitar player. And the harmonica just was something that kind of came easy. So after finally deciding to play the harmonica, then I had other influences came in. I would search out who some of the best harmonica players were, and I would listen to them. A guy named Paul Butterfield was one of them, a Chicago player. Little Walter was one of the great blues harmonica players. Stevie Wonder is a great player. So, after I finally picked, settled in on being a harmonica player, then I would just, search out who was accomplished at the time.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I need to figure out how to get on the Zoom call.
Hi, Mickey, it's me again. Tell us a little bit about the band, okay, and your band members. You got people like Bobby, who's been there from the beginning with you. Some of the greats that are no longer with us. like Paul English, Jody Payne. Maybe
Yeah.
you could talk about what it's. I mean, when he says Willie Nelson and family, my guess is he really means the word family.
Yeah, because it's, there was no turnover in the band until people passed. So you had Paul English, who was his drummer for 50 some odd years. And Paul was really the guy that, I don't want to say hired me, but he was the one that, when Willie said, come sit in with us, come play with us, Paul was the one that I would contact. He was my contact, and he just kind of, he ran the show. He was a big brother and a father figure and a boss also. So if we had a problem, we'd always go to Paul, not Willie. And then Jody Payne, the guitar player, who's again passed, he came the same year I started playing in 1973, but after me. And he was playing with Merle Haggard before he was playing with us. And then Bobby, Willie's sister, he's been playing with Willie since they were children. There's a great book out too that you might like. It's called Me and Sister Bobby. It's Willie talking and then Bobby talking, and just about growing up. And as long as I've been around and known them, there are things that they talk about in this book that I had no idea was happening. So it really is a family, because everybody's been around, with Willie. I'm one of the newer ones, I guess, and I've been there, 48 years.
Yeah, that is awesome. One of the things that kind of amazes me, Mickey, Willie wasn't a hit overnight. And in fact, I'm sure you've seen, it doesn't look like him when you see Willie, who will be in one of those early 1960s country shows, and he's got a suit on, and he's playing one of his early hits like crazy, which of course he wrote at the time for Patsy Cline. What was the difference between 62, 63, and 73?
I think, at that time he loved wearing suits too. And I always, when I first came to work, there was a wardrobe closet at Willie's house, and it had all these different tuxedos. There were gold, white, black, blue, red. And before I could ever, wear the band uniform, he actually had a house fire and it burned everything up. But moving back to Texas with a little less structured, music scene, he just started wearing jeans and T-shirts when he would play, and figure out it would just be, he just wanted to be comfortable. And, so his whole dressing style changed, because he was out of that Nashville, real show business scene, and was just, playing like the audiences were just like playing for your friends. So there was no need to dress up.
That's so awesome. I mentioned Anita. I see her. Anita, are you with us?
I'm here. I finally figured this out.
Well, Anita, you are here with me and the iconic Mickey Raphael. And do you introduce yourself and ask a question for Mickey?
Hey, Mickey.
Hi, Anita. I like your shirt.
Thanks. Check out the old 70s.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
It was a wedding gift. We're big time fans. We've seen you and Willie 4 times, once before Merle passed. I'm a guitar player by forte, but I've recently picked up the harmonica. My husband bought me a set of 7 keys, and I went out and purchased a Fender in the key of C, and I found it plays a lot smoother. I was just wondering, what's your brand that hasn't let you down?
I like the Hohner harmonicas because I've been playing them since I started. So I'm kind of loyal to them. So the Hohner Marine Band, or anything with the wood body is kind of just what I'm comfortable with.
I've got one more question. After all these decades of touring, how did 2020 affect your lifestyle? I mean, did you feel rooted to the ground again?
I got to stay home. It was fabulous.
Awesome. Okay. That's it.
I'm so glad you can make it, Anita.
Me too. It took the help of a teenager.
Okay, and introduce your teenager.
Hi, I'm Peyton.
Hi, thanks for joining us. Say hi to Mickey.
Bye, Mickey. Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you.
Mickey, I got a couple more student questions for you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Morgan.
Hi, Morgan.
My question is, how did you get into playing such an unusual instrument such as the harmonica?
Well, I was a terrible guitar player. And I wasn't that great a tuba player either. But I knew I loved music and I knew I wanted to play an instrument. And when as a kid, when I got a harmonica, as almost every kid does at one point, it just, I don't want to say it was easy, but it was an instrument that it was easy to carry around. So you could just practice all the time. And maybe my practicing skills weren't honed so much on the guitar, but on the harmonica, you could just keep it in your pocket and play it, riding in the car, or like when I was at school during lunch, I'd walk around the playground or the field, the football field, and just just practice my harmonica. So practice is so important. It's an instrument that you can take with you anywhere and practice at any time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cheyenne, and my question is, who was your largest influence to pursue a career in music?
Who is what now? Say that again.
Who was your largest influence?
My large in my career, maybe my mom, because she was very supportive and of my music career. My dad wasn't as sure of himself or sure of me, being able to make a living playing the harmonica, So it's probably my mom because she played piano.
Now, Mickey, why don't we mix it up here a little bit? And I think we've got Over the Rainbow coming up. And since we know Anita is your biggest fan here in Greensburg, Indiana, maybe if you wouldn't mind dedicating it to her.
Okay, Anita, this is for you. This is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I'm going to attempt.
Oh.
I just had to throw in if I only had a brain. So.
Oh, I could just see Ray Bolger right there at the end.
Yeah.
That was absolutely fantastic. I don't want to keep you too long, but we've had some great questions. We've gotten insight. Willie just seems so genuine. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, he's the same guy today as when I met him, other than I have his email address, but But he's the same guy. I mean, when I first met him, he was just as personable then as he is now. And what you see is what you get. I mean, it's not put on or an act, and you know, he's the real deal.
Is there a song the band likes playing best together?
Maybe the gospel medley, because that's when we finish up and head out to the bus. But no, you know, the show has been cut down to an hour. It used to be 4 hours. So just logistically, I mean, we're playing an hour, and I think everybody loves everything. You know, some people like nightlife the best. You know, I mean, it's kind of, we're all kind of split up. Where one guy, I like playing nightlife, and another guy may like playing Whiskey River. You know, so it's kind of between all of us. We've got, you know, there's nobody dragging their feet, or you don't hear a discouraging word at all.
You know, and I think we're touching all the bases, but one of the bases I wanted to mention was some of those great artists that joined you from time to time along the way. And I think of people like Emmylou Harris, Waylon Jennings, Leon Russell, and of course we've mentioned Merle Haggard. Can you talk a little bit about some of their influences and how that had an impact on Willie and the band?
Yeah, well, Leon Russell was one of them. He was a friend of Willie's, and he actually was a session musician in LA on some of Willie's early records. And when I first came to work in the band, Leon was the biggest rock star on the planet. And after we knew him for a few years, he wanted just to he didn't want to tour with his band anymore. And he was, I don't want to say, he wasn't really retired, but he went out on the road with us for a year, just as the piano player. I think he just wanted to take a break, you know. So Bobby wasn't touring with us at that particular year. So Leon, you know, Willie would introduce the band, and he would just say, "This is Leon on the piano." It was, you know, it wasn't a star type of introduction. He was just a piano player. And that was so great because he was such a great musical influence.
You know, and I have to admit, growing up, the Willie and Waylon album, of course, there have been so many. There's Stardust, there's the great double album Live. I'm a big fan of Honeysuckle Rose. But that Willie and Waylon album together just had so many memorable hits.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as a matter of fact, I have to ask you a question. Good Hearted Woman, is it a favorite of yours?
Yeah, I like playing that song.
And so you can play along with it. Mickey, I guess my question is, do you feel like doing a few bars with me?
I don't know if I have that particular key harmonica. Yeah, do you have a guitar? Are you gonna?
No. Oh. I am a history teacher with a bad voice that loves to sing Willie Nelson songs.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Let me see if I can. What's a good key for you to sing in?
That's a good one, Nick.
Well, here. You match me, I think.
Along. How's that?
Is that too high for you?
No, I can go a long time forgotten. How's that?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, here we go. A long time forgotten, the dreams that just fell by the way. The good life he promised ain't what she's living today. But she never complains. Bad times are the bad things she's done for. She just talks about the good times they had and all the good times to come. She's a good-hearted woman and loves a good time and man. And she loves him in spite of his ways. She don't understand. through tears, bumps, and laughter that pass through this world hand in hand. A good-hearted woman, love with a good common man.
I hope you recorded this.
We're going to have to delete some of those sketchy parts of mine.
Oh, you hung in there. That was good.
Well, Mickey Raphael, I can't tell you how much of a joy and a pleasure that it has been for every one of us. When are you hitting the road again?
Sometime in April, in August.
In August. Well,
Yeah.
I tell you what, we're going to have to time it so when the bus is cruising past Interstate 74, it'll be kind of like in the Honeysuckle Rose, where we'll be running along the bus waving at you.
That'll be good. Or do you have a truck stop there? We'll just have to come in for lunch or something.
Oh my gosh, there's a great truck stop. Plan on it, on me.
Okay. Or is there a little cafe in town? That's the thing to do.
Well, I tell you what, we could probably get you the whole cafe. Story's Restaurant has the best tenderloin sandwiches in the United States of America.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Do you think we can get Willie to make a cameo?
Yeah, maybe so, for tenderloin,
Mickey Raphael, hey, can you close us with just a couple bars of something?
Yeah, well, I think we'll do On the Road Again. I mean, that would
that'll be
be
perfect.
and then we take off. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Mickey Raphael.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Your kids asked some good questions too.
They're a good bunch, and we've enjoyed every minute. Thank you, Mickey.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for
All
having
the
me.
best.
Okay. Thanks.